So 7 years. Not knowing anything or anybody, and then finding the people that run the entire universe. How's that possible? Well, it's only in your dreams is that possible. Who actually believes it? Well, nobody that I talk to in person. So that's why I talk to this device out loud, publicly, out in the open. I found you. And then come to find out that the people who have attacked me in sweetness, they already knew. They already knew. Everybody's acting. And I mean, everybody is acting. Or mostly everybody is a part of the show, like the show, the movie, the documentary. Derek Rose, Jacob Israel, Stephen James, the movie, Jonathan Kleck, Steve Benoon. Those 5, because they were the first 5 that I've come across. And then there comes the churches, the church members like Kim Jean and Paul Tiller and Skip Heitzing and Robert Breaker and Alistair Begg and like John MacArthur. Paul Begley is a mixture. He's kind of like a Steve Benoon, but he's like a mixture of Steve Benoon and a church, like a churchgoer, church pastor. So there's 7 people that have like a church congregation, because Paul Begley sometimes has that, even though he does the news like Benoon does, but he also has those freedom gathering togethers. So there's 7 different types of church member leaders, head of the pastors. And they all know, you just all know each other. Everybody knows everybody. You don't always mention other people. I appreciate the people that do mention other people, like Steve Benoon does and has mentioned Paul Begley, has called him out on certain things, and Tobias Singer and all of those. How many of you are other characters? I don't know. But I found these people that have shown me that they know what Scripture. It's not like they're trying to figure out Scripture. They already know the true interpretation of it, as if they were from heaven already, in heaven. Just all right. So when I go down to the shore to Jersey, Wildwood. You mean to tell me that the wall is right there on the outside perimeter of the Truman Show? Because we're in this bubble. This is a bubble. It's not the whole world, but the powers that be that showed, the ones that took my art museum footage, you already know my life. inside and out, from beginning to end, and you know that I'm never going to go like to a certain place to find out that it doesn't exist. You know I'm not going to just get in a boat, or maybe I will. Maybe I'll get in a boat and just start going to the wall. I wonder if that's how I get out of here. Maybe I gotta get like a ski-doo, right? Take it down to the shore, put it in the water, and just go until I hit the wall. And then I'll know. But don't you think somebody will try to stop me? Like a Coast Guard guarding the coast? I heard Jonathan Clutch talking about it a little bit with the Truman Show. It's to the point now where I don't know, it's repetitive. It's the same stuff. It's when I think of the difference between Stephen James and Jonathan Kleck, well, they both remind me of Saul in a way. They both remind me of Peter, but it's because I think one of them is acting like Paul, or the other one is acting like Peter. So maybe one of them is Peter and the other one is Paul, or because I don't know for sure, and I sure wish I could possibly know in the end, so my mind can stop racing and racking my brain. I wonder if sometimes that Saul, like Stephen James was Saul at first, and then the next 3.5 years, you know how it's like 1 Peter, 2 Peter, 1 John, 2 John, 3 John, John the Third, Quentin Wise. I've wondered, is Jonathan Kleck the second Saul? The first Saul would be, because Stephen James reminds me of Saul. I wrote a letter to him saying that's who he reminds me of back then. And he has the characteristics of attacking me as if I was David. And, but he also does that denying thing, like, I rebuke you, Robin Henry Tees. So, but that could just all be an act to try to act like Peter, right? But Peter does come first, because Paul, is the one that, in the end, because it's not like he was a disciple of Jesus, he was at the end, but then he became the one that wind up writing, you know, most of the New Testament, all the Acts and the Hebrew and all that stuff, and Corinthians and all that. And the reason why Paul doesn't remind me of Stephen James is because Steve hasn't stopped lying, and Paul is more. If I had to guess, the one that looks like a Paul would be Steve Benoon. He looks like a Paul. And then Stephen James he looks like what a Peter would look like. And then Matthew Daly kind of looks like a Judas. He did play the Judas role. But at the same time, Jonathan Kleck, not that he has like 12 disciples like Stephen James had, because all his disciples came after me. But it's like one of them does it literally, and the other one does it in spirit. Doesn't show it or say it, but is doing it. So Jonathan Kleck was talking about Travis Park getting locked up. The cops locked him up, and they had to let him go. And after 2 weeks, and then Matthew Daly gets, at the same time, he gets locked up because he was trying to meet someone named Travis. who was supposedly a 15-year-old, but said he was 30. It's almost like Jonathan Clegg is trying to say that he's Matthew Daly, Judas, because he's spilling his guts. He hung it up, spilled his guts, and that's what it just seems like. And so I just keep saying what I think, whether it's correct or not. I don't know how I'll ever really know until the show's over. I just want to know who the characters are. And aren't you all supposed to just say who you are? And then that's why when people say who they are, it's like, no, you're not, because you're going to say the exact opposite, because that's the way this thing is. Even in the Bible, nothing's like concrete, solid. Everything's a mystery. So like when Steve says he's King David and Elijah and Moses and all of that, you can't possibly be, because nobody's going to just blatantly say, hey, that's me. No. You have to read between the lines, flip things upside down, and turn it backwards. And then you get the answer. And that's the whole purpose of the Spirit of Christ finding these things out. So when Steve rebukes me like I'm the devil, or like Peter rebuking Jesus, well then it's as if he's acting like Peter. And then having the keys to the kingdom, Jonathan Clegg is leaning more towards acting like he's Peter. There is a 1 Peter and a 2 Peter, right? So maybe that's why it lines up. But at the same time, Jonathan Clegg, to me, even though he's communicated with me for 4 years, almost on a non-stop basis, recently, it just seems more and more about himself. I can't even relate to what you're saying. And yeah, the Vatican is a snake. But if you're not talking to people, if you're not showing them what I've shown you and make it clear to them that you're talking about me, then what's the point of anything? What's the point of it? Because truly, I'm from nowhere. I don't know anybody. I'm not part of the organization. And I can show you true miracles with the art museum footage, tying the music videos to my stuff. Now, unless if that's you, Jonathan Clegg, the devil, Lucifer, Bono, the dragon, that old serpent, if you're not all those, well then it's not legit. Like whatever you're saying it wouldn't pertain to anything, because it wouldn't be true. Because without me recording that footage, it would have never been in the music videos from the past, even though I just recorded it recently. But that's how it works. Even though I just recorded it, say within a year's period of time, even though it was 30 plus years ago, it would have never been the video if I didn't record the art museum footage. So the dragon, wouldn't that be funny if the dragon had nothing to do with it? That God was the one that orchestrated everything, and the devil didn't even know that I was gonna, how he got the influence to do the videos, but God was the one that showed him what to put in the videos. That way in the future, once I record it, I can be the one to claim, hey, I have the raw, original footage for all these music videos. I'm actually older than what my age says, than what I look like. More ancient than the days that I have under my belt as to how many days old I am, because I have the original footage. But according to my age, I would have had to have recorded these videos when I was about 10, 12 years old. When cell phones didn't even exist yet. So that's kind of impossible, right? Now that's what I'm talking about. They are legitimate miracles. And yeah, Jonathan Kleck may have confirmed some things in spirit, but nothing direct, nothing out loud, nothing Robin Henry tease, none of that. John from Denver does it. You haven't been up in a while. I actually had a dream that you, a couple days ago, I had a dream that you betrayed me, and you were, you truly came against me, like, as I was, it's like, it's not that it's not like I don't expect those things, but in the dream, you were trying to clown me, but it didn't matter because I already knew that everybody's acting anyway. So even if you're acting like you're nice to me, you could just not be. Even if you're acting like you're mean to me, you could just really be nice. So either or. And I think a day before that, I dreamt about Justin Michael, and he was trying, it's almost like he was like an Agent Smith with absolute zero power. And he was trying to instill like some kind of fear, and I'm like, it's not happening, Justin. You know why? Because you're doing everything in secret and I'm out in the open, and everything I do is true. You lost. It's too late. And he kept trying to cling on about something as if like some kind of fear tactic. It was kind of funny because it didn't have any power anymore. And these dreams, it's not like I don't look at them as insignificant. I look at them as, you probably already know that I had that dream because you already experienced it in my dream. The people that I dream about are experience the same thing, whether they remember it or not. Probably, who knows? But so when I think of the difference between Jonathan Kleck and Stephen James, when I look at the Jacob and Esau, even when Jonathan Kleck was saying, like, pointing in his direction, like, hey, I'm Jacob, I'm admitting who I am, I'm Jacob. In all likelihood, it means you're not Jacob, you're Esau, the exact opposite. But Stephen James plays the role of Esau, even though he could be Jacob. Because let's face it, who is Benjamin Netanyahu? Which one of you? Who will rule as Israel? Who in the mainstream media represents Israel? Benjamin Netanyahu. What did Steve say yesterday in the video I showed from a few years back? He's showing my name, Robin Henry T's 914. Oh, look at that. Mark of the Beast. Blood guilty image. Oh, Benjamin Netanyahu. I am the Antichrist. Look at that. Look at him. You see him say that right there? Is Stephen James really the Antichrist? Because if so, he came against me for 6 years as an anti-Robin. Even though I don't believe him. And I don't believe Jonathan Kleck either. It's hard to believe anybody because everybody has, whether it's a predetermined self-preservation, part of the inside, everybody's still lying, acting like they're not from the, acting like you're not an agent when you are, acting like you're not reading a script when everybody does, acting like you're poor when you're not. So I look at the difference and I think, well, what irritates me more than someone lying? Well, it depends on how you're lying. And what is the agenda behind your lying? That's the difference. So, when Stephen James lies about me, it doesn't even bother me whatsoever. It's actually funny. I actually look forward to it. That's why I like bringing up old clips. Even if Steve is silent for a year straight, I'll never leave him or forsake him. I'll still mention him all the time. Because without him, there is no me. Without Jonathan Kleck, there's still me. Before Johnny was James. Even though James attacked me and lied about me and all that stuff, but he did it in sweetness. And that's the thing about it. He did it in sweetness. Because it's like a kind way of anointing me with the oil of gladness as a smear campaign. But he's lying about me because he's deceiving all of you. And if you can't see through the lies, that's on you. You're the one that gets tricked in the end. In the end. We're not at the end. Look at that wheelbarrow. And you see, Steve and Jonathan Kleck remind me of the two thieves. The two thieves, because they're both claiming to be King David. One of them is a dark David, the other one's a light David, according to the script world. And Derek Rose said, don't pick a side, Robin, don't pick a side. Maybe that's because he said that because, well, what if you have two people that try to act like you and are not? Are they not thieves? Are they not trying to steal your birthright? Are they not trying to take your inheritance? So then going back to Saul and Jonathan Kleck having the name Jonathan would lead me to believe that he's not Jonathan in the Bible. He would be the exact opposite. He would be more like Saul. But then when you have someone like Stephen James acting like Saul, just, you know, what's the saying? Have they come here also and turned things upside down? Everything that I'm being fed, let me just not believe it, turn it in the exact opposite direction. Whatever you're saying about me is what you're saying about yourself. Whatever you're saying about yourself is what you're saying about me. Stephen James. So if you're acting like Saul, you may be Jonathan. And I never really thought of that before. Because as you're acting like, as you're claiming to be David, but you're acting like Saul, you just may be Jonathan. And then when Jonathan Kleck is acting like Peter, but he's really, or acting like he's Peter with the name of Jonathan being my buddy, but he could be more like Judas, the devil, the son of perdition, Saul, the Antichrist, because it's all an act. One person's acting like they hate my guts, like Stephen James, I can read straight through his bullshit, and the other one's acting like he's my great good buddy, but he could just be acting and he really hates my guts. Because one FBI agent wants to kill me for figuring out the bombings on the printed on the U.S. currency and all the other stuff, Jonathan Kleck, and the other one acts like he wants to kill me but really loves me. One of them acts like he loves me but really wants to kill me. So that's what it means to turn things upside down. But that would mean that Jonathan Kleck would be Stephen James's dad. And that doesn't line up, right? Because the characters. But then I also got to remember, none of yous are actually in your real face. You're all wearing face masks, bodysuits, changing your voice, disguising it. Even with Jonathan Kleck, he has a new narrator that says, like as he's explaining stuff, he has a deeper voice. Can you all not tell that that's Jonathan Kleck? Literally talking, just changing his voice to a deeper man's voice. Because the way he says, okay, so check this out right here. It's obvious. I'm just jealous because I don't know how to do that yet. But I'm learning. I'm learning how to change my face too. by doing a clear plastic layover. But how I do that is when I do the Bandicam recording, I fade myself so you can see more of the screen. And then when I put a still image of somebody, like the hillbilly, then I can place my face in that. But I don't know how to connect it and lock it in place so it moves with me. I don't know how to do that. But I think all of you're not even wearing masks. You're just CGI. It makes it easier. Why even wear a mask when you can CGI it? You can be a straight reptilian. You can just be skull and bones, and you don't even have a face. And you get on YouTube and you do the CGI, and now all of a sudden you have like a John from Denver face, a voice, a deeper voice, like that, kind of like a Derek Bros voice. Yep. So, but here's the thing I give Stephen James credit for 6 years over Jonathan Kleck. Name dropping, non-stop. Stephen James DeShawn's ministry, if that's what you want to call it, has been nothing but all about Robin Henry Tees. Jonathan Kleck's ministry has been nothing all about Jonathan Vargo Kleck, not Robin Henry Tees. Even though in spirit he was constantly talking to me, but in the end, are you really gonna drop my name, Jonathan Kleck? Are you really telling people about me? Are you? Because I know Stephen James has no shame in doing that, even though he's doing it in an unusual way through lies and deception. But anybody can see past that. You don't name drop somebody for 6 years straight if they're a nobody. It's like he's like John the Baptist or something, paving the way for the truth. I'm just exhausted with all of it, and I'm tired of it all. And I did so much work that I don't even feel like doing it anymore. Where is it getting me? What is it doing? Is there a retirement fund out of this? And then within the past couple months, I came across Alistair Begg, and man, what teachings I get from him, huh? It's not that I don't get stuff from everybody else, but finding somebody towards the end, it's like just tapping right in, and it's like I've known him forever already. And he has a way of speaking to me directly so I can understand. I love when people interpret the Bible. I don't love when you just read it. Like Matthew said, just read the Bible. Keep your interpretations out of it. Yeah. Now, I want people to interpret it, because you know what? I know that you know the true interpretation. So interpret it so I can understand it better. So I have to say, between trusting anybody, between trusting Jonathan Kleck in the end and Stephen James DeShawn, who acts like he's the devil, he could just be propped up as the leading head gang stalker in America, and he isn't, because he's just an actor. I feel like in the end, if between Jonathan Kleck and Stephen James had a choice to say who they concluded after all these years that they trust more than anybody on the planet, Stephen James would say Robin Henry Tees, and Jonathan Kleck would say Jonathan Vargo Kleck. That's how I feel at this moment. Unless Jonathan Kleck changes my mind and drops a Robin Henry Tees for once, because I drop his name all the time. I'm talking directly about you. And whoever I'm talking about you. I'm not hiding who I'm talking about. I don't know why people hide that they're talking about me. What are you hiding me for? Who am I to you? What are you ashamed of? Me? I'm a nobody. Remember? All I do is, I'm just a video music video producer from the past. That's all I am. I just direct music videos for famous rock bands at will. That's who I am. A music video director for famous rock bands. Who's next? Well, I guess it's time to roll away the stone, because 23 artists so far, nobody's saying anything. If you don't say anything, these Rolling Stones will cry out. And in the end, the stone that gets rolled away from the tune, maybe the Rolling Stones have to do that. As the 24th artist and the 39th and 40th song all together, so I can finish out 24 artists all throughout wherever I went and recorded music videos, not just in the art museum, not just at the William Penn building, and not just at Forbidden Drive, Wissahickon Park, and not just at Wildwood either. Maybe the Rolling Stones need to get recorded in Wildwood in 2 weeks to finish it off somewhere. Or maybe I need to go back to Wissahickon Park, or maybe I need to go back into the art museum. But wherever I go and record the Rolling Stones video, the next 2, because I'm going to pick 2 of them to finish it off with 40 songs altogether and 24 artists. Whichever ones, wherever I decide to play it at, I'm telling you that it's going to line up. You want to pick your lane there, buddy? Or no? So, nobody's really saying anything publicly. So I guess it's time for the Stones to cry out.